Oh no, I love it. It's so cool. Oh, it's perfect. Not good. This one makes me really happy. Goodness gracious, it's got a massive crack. Hello and welcome to another mystery mold mini series. This time we are unveiling 12 plate and platter molds. These ones have been found and discovered in the stash in the shed, and I'm so excited to see what's inside each one of these. Now, plates and platters can be quite a boring shape, but there can be a lot that can change how good a plate and platter is, especially in pottery, because sometimes they can warp, crack, or even not fill up properly in the mold. I'm excited to see what's inside, see whether we've got some good winners or whether we've got some losers. In this video, I'm going to be pouring and revealing what's inside each one of these molds, and in the following couple of videos, I'm going to be decorating them with your ideas. Instead of doing all 12 in the following video, I'm actually going to break it down into 3 plates and platters per video, and I'll really hone in on each design. So let's pour them up and see what's inside. I'm so excited and I hope you are too. Let's get into it. We have this square platter here. It actually had the plastic wrap on it already, so I just left it there. I added a rubber band just in case the plastic wasn't enough to hold it, but let's open it together. Generally with plates, the pouring hole is usually the base. So it's generally the foot or the foot ring where you pour it into. I'm actually going to just peel this away a little bit and then I'm going to pull the top off. I have used reclaimed clay for this too, so that's like recycled offcuts. I do that for the first pour just so that if it does stuff up, we can learn from that instead of using really good clay. But because of that, sometimes the pour itself can stuff up because it's reclaimed. So I am curious to see how all these plate molds turned out. This is our first one. So let's flip it over and have a look. Okay. Honestly, I don't love it. You can probably see from that what the shape of the actual serving dish looks like. I'm not in love. I think that it is a very aggressive shape. I really love curvy round shapes, and this is very angular. I'm just concerned with this piece in particular because what I'm looking for in this series is a lovely dinnerware plate, or a plate where you can serve up an abundance of food, or even like a platter, because I don't have many plate molds. I've only got like a one single serving size, or even like a side plate size, so I'd love something a bit bigger. As for this, because of the shape of it, it dips down into this small surface area base, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't want to eat much from this. I think that this is more of like a put your keys in at the front door type. I don't like it. I really don't. I don't know. I just don't think I would like to eat from this. It doesn't feel very like comforting to eat a nice bowl of pasta from, or, you know, serve anything bigger. Oh, it's quite heavy. It's quite heavy. I'm just gonna cut this ring off. It does have a nice foot. Everything's very symmetrical about it. I mean, I give them kudos because I never want to make this shape, but I wouldn't have the patience to do this shape even if I wanted to. I don't like the height of it because it feels more on the charters of it being a bowl, and that's a little bit worrying for me in a kiln saving way, because I'd have to put a higher stilt than a plate stilt just to fit this in the kiln each time, which is a bit impractical. You could definitely stack them quite nicely, but then again, it doesn't look with that foot. I think it's too awkward to put in the dishwasher. The thickness is really good. I'm not sure if that thickness is going to prevent it from warping. I think it will. It looks thick enough that it's not going to sway and move, but time will tell once it goes through the kiln. Otherwise, I don't really know what to do with this. I think it's more of a, I could see like the glazes, like mixing glazes and seeing how they pull down the crevices, but I also think it could be cool to play with like a diamond gridlock kind of like diamond-y looking pattern, or even a real like pop arty primary color with black outline could be really cool to play with on this piece. But otherwise, it's not my favorite, but I'm curious to see what you think we should do with it, because you guys might have some cool ideas that really change my perspective on this, because that's what happened during the mug version of this series. Is you guys saw a shape where I didn't, and it ended up making me fall in love with the mug shapes. We've got plate number 2. Oh, that's a really nice shape. I really like it. It's nice and symmetrical. We've also got a really nice upper lip so that if you do have anything sort of saucy, it's not going to like run off the plate. It is a little bit pitted. I have a feeling it might have just been like a little bit of dirt and debris in the mold surface itself. Like the circumference, it feels like it's going to be quite a decent sized plate once it's fired, because it will shrink a little bit too. I don't know why I decided to pull it out that way. That was a really bad idea. Why did I do that? Oh, I really like that. It's got a nice foot ring as well. It looks like this might have filled up a little bit too much, which is okay. It's not the end of the world, but it might actually cause the plate to bow and warp because the foot ring is full. And sometimes what happens is it can have too much clay, and then when it shrinks in the kiln, the clay kind of has nowhere to go. Looking at the surface, it looks quite flat. It doesn't look like it's got any concave. It looks like it's going to sit food on it really nicely. It looks like it's great for stacking. It looks like it's going to fit in a dishwasher if that's your choice. I definitely think that this is a winner. I feel like it's almost cake size without the cake swallowing the plate or the plate swallowing the cake. Like it's kind of like that perfect size, but it will be hard to tell until it's actually fired and we see that shrinkage. I think that this is a really classic shape. I'm excited to have a play with it. It's also, yeah, I think it's just like a perfect birthday cake plate, but can be used for so much in the kitchen. This is plate number 3. I think I filled it up too much. I love it. That is such a cool shape. This is perfect for serving one of like the long cakes, like a carrot cake or a banana bread, any kind of like bread loaf, or even just like a sushi plate even. I think it's really cool. This is just the bottom too. It is a really nice shape. It's got a lot of surface area to put food, which is great. The rim is nice and it's easy to handle. It looks like you could actually add some little handles either side just to make it easy to carry around, even as like a serving platter or like at a party, walking around with little sausage rolls and party pies on it. It's really cute, but I think it could be really gorgeous with a cake on it, and it's just like that perfect rectangular shape. I like it because you could also make like a cake and drizzle a sauce all over it and it would just be gorgeous. I think that often with plates, like I feel like the food also needs to complement the ceramic, and the ceramic also needs to complement the food. If you're thinking about it being really fancy, like a plate's a plate and we make do with what we make do, but if we can complement pieces and really have something that works so nicely together, I feel like it makes the food taste better. I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing. Very reminiscent to a platter that I've had before earlier in the mystery mold series where I did whale platters, and there was some ideas that I didn't quite do in that episode where I wanted to do other sea life creatures, and I'm wondering whether this is the time to do that. This is so open to so many different ideas, and because of the shape and the long shape of it compared to a round plate where you're trying to use the circumference in a circular way, this kind of lends itself to more elongated shapes and you won't have as much negative space where it's a bit awkward to fill. So I'm excited to have a play around with this as a shape in general. I think it'll be stackable. I think you could have multiples of this and it will stack really nicely. I think that the warpage, because of the thickness of it, it won't warp. It looks like it has a pretty good foot ring as well. I think it's definitely going to be a favorite, a nice serving platter. I'm really happy with that shape. This is definitely a winner as well. This is plate 4. Oh, cool. I love that. Oh my gosh, it's like a massive lettuce leaf or a cabbage leaf. It's scalloped in a way of a leaf, and it's got like the veiny details in it, but it's also got a little spot which looks like it might hold a little bowl, maybe for a chip and dip plate, which is really cool. I really love that. I've always wanted a little chip and dip plate set. I wonder if we have the bowl somewhere that suits it. We've got that little cabbage teacup from one of the Smash or Cast episodes which might fit this spot, but I guess because it's got the little handle it's probably not suitable, but there might be like a little bowl. I think that there's even potential to use a mug or something and cut it in a way to make it sit in this little spot if we don't have it, but I think that that's really groovy. This type of plate platter is more of a statement piece. It's not really something that you leave in your regular servingware cabinet. It's something that you would bring out for special occasions. It sits in a glass cabinet on display, or even just sits in that little section of your cupboard for special occasions when people come around. For that reason, I think that it's okay that it's not super stackable, but I think it might be. I'll just try and pop it out and see. It looks like I didn't quite fill it up properly. I think it needed to be a bit more of a slower pour. I really love this shape. I feel like you could definitely have a couple of these and stack them. I like that it's got a little indent so that you could add a little cup. I feel like you could do so much with this. As for painting it, I think I really need to lean into the lettuce leaf look of it, but I feel like I could have a lot of fun with that as well. Like, I think that also if you look outside the box of this one, even though it's lettuce leaf shaped, I love that this could almost be like an avocado tree coming up, or we could play with like leaves coming off of these like it's an actual tree and stems, or even like a branch of a flower plant. I definitely think we could play with like running lasers and having a play with that, but I feel like another one of the plates where it's more detailed. But I'd be curious to know what you think it should look like. This is plate 5. I love it. It definitely looks like a smaller version of plate number 2. And you know what this kind of reminds me of? The little dish that sits in your microwave and it goes, I mean, that's what the dish does, but it's got that dish shape because it's quite thick, and then it's got the upper rim. The thickness means it will help prevent it from warping because it's got a lot to hold the memory and the shape of the clay. It looks like a sweet little side plate. As for the size, it's not the size I'm hoping to find. It is still that side plate looking shape. It's really small, and I think it will shrink even further when it goes through the kiln, where it only becomes like almost like a coffee and cake size plate, whereas it's not the main meal plate unless you have really small meals, because it will shrink a lot once it's done. I love the weight of this. I love the feel of it. I think it's great. The thickness is somewhat quite curvy and bubbly and almost like cartoony, but I think I really like it because I think that that will actually help aid the piece through its firing journey into not warping and to not being misshapen. I definitely think that the weight will help it hold on the table nicely without you knocking it, and it will result in not getting chipped and dinged up as easily as one of the thinner plates. The stackability, I think it's great. I think it'll fit in the dishwasher nicely. I think it is a really versatile shape. Actually, let's look at that bigger version and see how it sits inside to see whether it's worth stacking them together like a side plate and a dinner plate. This is the bigger version. Again, it does look like that microwave dish. This is the smaller version. Once it shrinks, that looks like they're gonna stack really nicely. Let me trim it up. Oh, that's cool. That looks like that's gonna stack really cool on the dinner table. I think I'll do a design that suits both of them, but maybe so that they can come together as a little story. This is a plate 6 and the smallest one that we have in the series. Oh gosh, that's not a plate. Oh no. But oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. It's a decorative plate. It's a wall plate plaque to put up, and it is the cutest thing, and I'm so happy, and it makes my heart so warm and cuddly, and I'm just so grateful. It is a little plaque and it says the Aussie Bunch, and there are a bunch of Australian native Aussie animals on it, all cuddling up and all happy, and there's some cute little gum nuts and gum leaves, and the style of the cartoon is really sweet. They are really cute. They're not odd or weird. They are just perfectly wonderful. This is gorgeous, and I'm really grateful that I've got this piece. Look at the detail on that. That is amazing. It does have a little bit of cracking in between the characters, and that's just because I've used reclaimed clay that's not quite right. It hasn't filled up the space that nicely. It does have a plate shape on the back. It literally is just a wall hanging, and I think that that's a really cool, and I think it's really gorgeous and a great way to bring an ode to Nana's kitchen into the wall space. I love that they're kind of like bouncing off the plate, but it still has that plate shape. I love the rim detail of the plate. As for decorating it, there's not much way of suggesting what to do with it because the whole plate's already decorated. It's going to be more of a coloring in page for this one, but I do think that what I'll do is try and color in each animal, and yeah, try my best not to make them look weird, because that's the hardest part with characters that are already in place, is not making them look weird and making them come to life and not in a spooky way. I think you guys will like painting them at the pottage too. This is number 7. I'm not confident about this piece because it's one of these large rectangular pieces where they've got the air holes, but generally when they have the air holes, they don't fill up as well. Generally with a bigger hole, it fills up better. I've tried all the different techniques you suggested last time when I had one of these types of molds, but to no avail. I don't know whether it might be my clay consistency or I don't know. I've tried different pouring speeds. I've tried putting a straw in it like some of you suggested. I tried filling it up one side, the other side. So I'm not confident that this has worked, but we can always open it up and see how we go. Not good. Oh goodness gracious, it's got a massive crack. I don't know why, because it's not that dry. Oh, big old crack. Goodness gracious. It has filled up though. It's so wet, but so cracked. What the heck? That's not even in... It's not even in a spot where it should crack. I don't love the shape either, so that's probably a good thing. The earlier platter that we had in the series was just so much nicer than this shape as well. Like this is just a very narrow, angular piece. It's quite deep rather than flat, like it's almost like bowl shape. So I'm not sure what I would actually have in that. Again, it would be good for sauce. It's not really gonna fit like a cake or anything like that. It's probably more suited towards like a fish. I don't know how to explain it, but like almost like having like a fish fillet on it or something. It has filled up well, so that's a plus. I think it was really tricky. Like I had to jiggle it a little bit to just get it to fill up. Not sure why that is cracked. It's like cracked all the way through. Maybe it was too full. Maybe if I tipped some of it out, it wouldn't crack. I think I need to pour this one again and see if we can rescue it. As for this one, we might not actually be able to get anything from it. We might have to have a plate. I'm a little bit scared because I've just opened this up as number 7 and we might not actually be able to complete it because it keeps cracking and breaking. We might not have a finished piece, but that's okay. That's what this series is about, is testing and trialing all these different category of molds to see what the pros and cons are of them. Give me some suggestions for decorating anyway, because I'm going to test this off camera a bit more and I'll give you a bit of a voiceover rundown about what I trialed to see whether it works. Again, it's also the first cast. It might be just a first cast thing. Not my favorite either, so it's not a massive loss, but yeah, still a shame. Number 8, I actually have 2 of these molds. I've only poured one up today, but hopefully it's a winner because then we've got 2 of them. It's got a really big circumference. As for the circumference, it is going to fit on my kiln shelf, but it will take up the whole shelf. I tested the shelf over the top of the whole mold. Oh, okay, that's looking promising. We've got a bit of a crack through there. Hopefully it's not all the way through. As for filling it up, I can see now already that this one needs to be tipped out because the foot ring's all the way down here, so it's completely solid and a big waste of clay. As for getting it off, I don't know. I think because it's got so much wet clay in there, it's not releasing from the mold itself. That was easy. Oh wow, this one makes me really happy. It is such a beautiful shape. You can see that this one was actually cast from a wheel thrown plate because you can see those wheel thrown indents as you pull up, and I love this rim. It's nice and wide, but it's got a nice depth. It looks like it's nice and flat. It looks perfect for cake, but also perfect for a dinnerware setting. I think that this one is my favorite plate so far in the series. Just as a general staple, it is just gorgeous, and I love the circumference size. The foot's nice. It looks like it's got a beautiful stackability because it looks like that foot is going to sit nicely on top of each other, so it'll be nice to pour a couple of these just to see whether that works. As for the thinness, I think that might be where we get stumped a little bit, is it might actually warp in that kiln firing a little bit. It just depends on how we handle it after it comes out of the mold. As for pouring it, I definitely need to pour this again. I will not fire this one because I have poured it way too thick and it does actually need to be tipped out, but that's something I wouldn't have known until I actually just tried it. I think it's great, and yeah, I'm excited to see what you think of this guy. I mean, again, I'm making lots of comments about something that is so basic, but it is really hard to get simple right sometimes, and particularly with how vulnerable each stage of the ceramics process is, whether you're casting from a mold, wheel throwing, hand building, it is all the same. It is all vulnerable in how you handle and deal with things and how you make things so that they work. Just because you can make it into a mold doesn't mean it's going to make it to the firing. Molds do not make the process any easier. It's just a different method of making the same casting. I think that this will be really interesting to see how it goes. I think it's going to be awesome if it works. Okie dokie, we have platter number 9. I didn't prepare myself to open that, and I was just in my head like, I'm going to flip it over because it looks really like wavy. Wavy is the word I'm going to use. My brain is not catching up to what my voice is saying. I'm going to flip it over because I can't really see what this is. Okay, I'm going to try and say what my brain was thinking this time instead of just going. I can't believe I just did that. Okay, it's nothing too amazing. I was actually hoping that that was going to be like some kind of wavy plate, and I guess like it is, but it's a bigger version of the frilly plates that we have had before. Isn't super like exciting for me because we've had it before. I've done them in an earlier mystery mold. It's just a bigger version of it, which makes me think that we do actually have the full set of this frilly, I think they call it Grecian, like a Grecian style piece. We've also had some jugs and things as well of this style. I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't usually pull the plates out like that, like putting my hand through the hole. Like what? It's not good for them because they warp. It's a great size, and to be honest, with all the cool cakes we've got right now where they've got the really cool funky classical piping techniques, those really vintage retro ones, I think a cool cake on this would look awesome. I don't love it for cupboards. I don't love it for putting in the dishwasher. I mean, if you do dishwasher, like it's definitely a hand washy. It's really big. I think it's just good for cakes and maybe just like a serving platter. And for the finished result of this, I would love to see a frilly cake on top of this looking magical. So I think we'll have to lean into some kind of like tacky 80s kitsch, I think is where I want to go with this one. But I'm curious to see what you think we should do. The first plate I did with this, I did like a begonia flower pattern on the bottom, but yeah, I kind of want to lean into like a really like tacky 80s aesthetic. This is plate number 10. Oh no, it cracked. Oh, bummer. That kind of looks a little bit like a crab. Did it crack? Is that the mold? Oh, it's a little handle. It did crack. But I think we could patch it back on. It's so weird because the clay is still so wet. I think it's just because it hasn't been used before. It looks like a little crab dish. I think that's a crab. Like that looks a bit like a crustacean, right? Or is it just a bow? Maybe it's just a bow. I don't know why, but I'm seeing crab. It actually looks a little bit like the crab dish that I've done in a previous mystery mold where you guys all said it was good for like clam chowder and stuff. And I feel like this could be so cute on the side as like a little bread and butter to go with your crab dish, whatever you serve in that. And then like this is like, it's like a little mouthy thing, right? Does it say anything on it? It doesn't say anything on it. It says mold T42. I don't know. I think I really like the idea of turning into a crab, and I can't unsee that now. And maybe I should do some like funky little crabby patterns. Now get the crab dish out and we'll do a little set. I really like that. That is cool. Not what I was hoping to find in this series, but really cool regardless. And I think we could do something fun with that. This is plate 11. Okay, so it's a saucer. I've never really seen a saucer where it's that wide and that deep, because usually a saucer kind of just gives you a little bit of a like, almost like a shallow bowl for if you do spill your tea or do spill whatever you're using. Yeah, like that is really, really deep. What would you put in that? I don't know. I'm gonna need your help with this one actually, because I haven't seen a saucer this deep before. And there's like no, it's just sort of like up. There's a base here, but it must go with something, but a teacup would just be swallowed by this. So I'm wondering whether it's for like a type of like water jug, so like you would walk around with the water jug on this and then use that to like water plants, or I don't know. Unless it's just something else that's totally random and different, like a bird feeder maybe. I'd be open to see your ideas. I might even look up the mold number and see if there's another part that goes with this because it might go together and it will make sense. Not a fan of this, but it's because I just don't know what it's meant to be for. Maybe I could put something in the center. I don't know, I'm a bit stuck on it. It's a bit different. It's not the platter plate vibe that we were going with today, but I think we could definitely make something cool out of it as always, and I'd love to hear your suggestions and ideas about maybe what this actually is. Lucky last, we have mold number 12, and I saved the biggest one. It's so heavy. Oh, it's perfect. I love it. This is my dream platter. This platter is scallop shaped, so it looks like a giant flower. I love it so much. It is so beautiful. I love the rim. It's gorgeous. This is a perfect serving plate. It does seem like a little bit more bowly, so like I don't know how you would go fitting a cake on there, but I feel like you could almost fit a cake and then have like cupcakes or macaroons around it. I love it. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I can imagine it in some really beautiful colors, and I'm wondering, like, it could be cool to kind of like have like the stripes running down from each scallop. This one makes me really happy, and I'm so glad that for such a big mold that it is a gorgeous plate, because it would have been a shame if the biggest one was the least favorite one, I guess. I'm gonna try and pull this one out gently and just have an assessment of the foot, whether I've poured it okay, whether I need to pour it thin. And frick, this is really hard. Oh, okay. All right, it's probably pretty good. Gosh, oh, it's glorious. This is probably the widest piece, the biggest circumference piece I have ever poured and will ever make. This is huge. I checked the kiln shelf over the top of this, and this is going to fill up the whole shelf. Hopefully by the time it shrinks between the bisque firing and the glaze firing times, it will fit with stilts, but at the moment it fills the whole shelf, so I might not even be able to fire it. I hope I can fire it. It's just so big. I love it. It's got a good weight to it. It is a little bit thin. I think because it does curve up in the way it does, you probably won't notice warpage that much if it does warp because of the scalloped edge. I love it. It's so cool. Oh, imagine just like a gorgeous cake. I almost need to collaborate with a cake maker and get them to design the cake to suit the plate. Oh, that's gorge. One of my favorites, I think, just because it's a little bit different in shape. It's got the scallop rim. It's not just a basic circle, but it also just has a lot of great pros. It's almost like bowly, but it stands on its own. It's such a feature, and I think you would still be able to stack them to some degree. It's nice and large, so you can fit a lot on it. It's more of a serving plate than an actual dinnerware, servingware, more than a dinnerware plate, but I love it. It's gorgeous. I can't wait to hear your ideas about how to decorate this and to really, yeah, just get into it with the ideas and have a play. So that is all 12 of the reveals. I'll be doing a recap each video with the decorations of the actual reactions so that it refreshes you, because I'm going to be pacing them out over a number of videos. That's just because with the mug video the first time, I learned from that one that I kind of rushed through the designs a little bit, and I would have liked to give them a little bit more time. I could definitely see a lot of flaws. I know that you guys couldn't see it as much, but I just noticed with my coding, because I was trying to rush through and get all of them done within a week, I just didn't do my best artwork on them. I was really proud of all the designs, but yeah, I could have just taken that little bit extra time to finesse it and really perfect it. I really care and value about every single artwork I make because they're so permanent and they have such purpose and intention. So I don't want to do that this time, especially because these are going to take up so much room each firing. Like, I think I'm only going to be able to fit 2 to 3 plates in every firing that I do, just because of their circumference and size, and because I take up a whole shelf. For that reason, I also must note that because of that, because they take up so much real estate and so much electricity and cost, they end up being quite pricey to create, and I really just want to do them justice and not waste the resources that I have to create and this beautiful platform that you've allowed me to build a community on. So I'm really excited to get into that. I can't wait to see you next week for the first 3 plates of this plate and platter mini series. I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.